Hey guys, this is a Pixel 7 Pro. The back glass is broken. I'm going to do a back glass replacement on this device and show you how I did it this time. I did a back glass replacement on this device previously. It was a black Pixel 7 Pro and you can check that video in the description. This video is different because I learned from what I did on the previous video and I'm going to show you how to make the back glass replacement a little bit easier and faster. If you're going to use a green scalpel like the one that I'm using or another blade, make sure that you're careful because you can injure yourself. From my experience with the Pixel 7 Pro, using alcohol is going to give you a better result than using a heat gun or any source of heat. The thing is, you need to put the alcohol between the back glass and the frame of the device. And while doing that, you need to be careful not to have the alcohol slip and go between the screen of the device and the frame of the device. This is the tricky part of removing the back glass of this device. So I have finally an opening and the back glass is completely detached from the frame of the device. I can start adding alcohol on that spot in order to remove that portion of broken back glass that is attached to the frame of the device. Again, you need to put the alcohol on the frame of the device in direct contact with the back glass and especially the double-sided tape that they use to seal the back glass. The double-sided tape that Google used on the Pixel 7 Pro is very different from the other double-sided tape that I found on some other devices. And even the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro, they didn't use this type of double-sided tape on those devices. Currently, I'm adding alcohol on top of the double-sided tape and you can see the tool is going between the double-sided tape and the broken back glass. At the bottom of the Pixel 7 Pro, there is no component that can be damaged by inserting a tool far inside. As you can see, alcohol works really well in separating the back glass from the tape. Here's the bottom of the Pixel 7 Pro with a portion of back glass removed and you can see the double-sided tape is still on place. If I have to do this again, I will not work on this area, but I will work at the bottom of the Pixel 7 Pro and separate the back glass from the frame of the device. I'm saying this because the tape is exposed and the broken back glass has been removed, but the bottom portion of the back glass is still glued to the body of the device. So this section, this is exactly what you need to do in order to remove the back glass of a Pixel 7 Pro without too much effort. You can see after I submerge my blade inside alcohol and bring the blade on the device, the back glass is getting separated easily from the frame of the device. So the first thing that you need to do at the bottom of the device, once you have an opening, you need to submerge your blade inside 99% alcohol and then bring the blade to the back glass and the double-sided tape right below the back glass, and you will see the back glass will detach itself from the frame of the device when the double-sided tape has been soaked or in contact with alcohol. So after you have completed the bottom portion of the Pixel 7 Pro, you need to do it on the same exact position where I'm working currently on the Pixel 7 Pro. This is going to be the left side of the Pixel 7 Pro if you're looking at it from the back. So currently I have two sides of the Pixel 7 Pro completely open. I just need to work on the top side right below the cameras. At the top of the device, right below the cameras, there is a sensor. There is the wireless charging sensor and the NFC cables. So you need to have the blade in contact with the frame of the device, directly in contact with the camera bump of this Pixel 7 Pro. And while you have the blade in contact with the camera bump, you need to push the blade in with the alcohol on the blade, and you can see you're going to remove the back glass of the device. The worst thing that can happen with the Pixel 7 Pro is losing the wireless charging and the NFC cables. The wireless charging and the NFC are fused together and they share the same cable going back to the motherboard. During this repair, the most common thing that can happen is cutting the cable on the wireless charging or the NFC and losing those components. If you do not care about wireless charging or NFC, you can simply rip the back cover of the Pixel 7 Pro out and replace your back cover without worrying about the Pixel 7 Pro NFC and wireless charging. I have removed almost half of the back cover that is attached to the top of the device, and as you can see, this is going to be my new technique in order to replace the back glass of this device. I'm simply going to put the ruler halfway in the middle of the back cover and pull the back cover to the right in order to remove the whole back cover entirely. So I decided to remove the small section of broken back glass that is still attached to the top of the back glass. I'm doing the same thing. I'm soaking the tool with alcohol and putting the tool near the camera bump area, and I even added some drops of alcohol on the top of the device in order to make things faster. You should use only a few amount of alcohol if you have to drop the alcohol directly onto the back cover. If you have too much alcohol and it goes beyond the battery and reach the screen of the device, you may lose your screen, as I did in the previous back glass replacement for this Pixel 7 Pro. So just testing, you can see the whole back glass at the top of the device near the camera bump has been detached from the frame of the device. Next, I'm going to test the wireless charging to make sure that it is still working and I didn't cut the circuitry yet. So it is time to completely open the back glass of the device and remove it out of the body of the device completely. I had the ruler halfway in the middle of the back cover, covering the wireless charging coil, and I started pulling the back cover to the right of the device. This is exactly what I was explaining at the end of the other video where I did a back glass replacement. The black stuff on the inside of the back cover is the wireless charging and the NFC antenna. The whole circuitry is still glued to the back cover. So the next step will be to separate the back cover from the NFC circuitry and the wireless charging circuitry. So the way I started to do this was to drop some alcohol on the inside of the back cover. This alcohol is going to reach all the components that are attached by glue with the back cover. Again, if you're doing this, make sure that the alcohol does not touch the screen of the device or go inside between the screen and the frame of the device. So you can see the alcohol is working its way with the double-sided tape. At this moment, I'm pulling slightly on the back cover to create a small gap between the back cover and the circuitry. After a few seconds, do not hesitate to add some more alcohol on the back cover of the device in order to accelerate the separation between the double-sided tape and the back cover. You need to be in a well-ventilated area and have something to wipe the alcohol that dropped on the table. So currently, I started to use my tool. I inserted the tool between the circuitry and the back cover, and I started to pull the circuitry slightly in order to create a wider gap between the back glass and the circuitry. You need to have some patience in order to do this properly and avoid damaging your wireless charging or NFC. Always add more alcohol if you need it, just like I did. Every component that makes this circuitry is glued to one another. You will need to separate each one by one in order to avoid damaging any of them. I have one portion of the back glass completely removed and the circuitry is exposed. Next, I covered the battery with some plastic in order to avoid any alcohol from going beyond the plastic. Okay, also at this point, the wireless circuitry, the coil is completely detached out of the back cover. The only thing that is still attached or glued to the back cover is the flex cables. So currently it was getting very difficult to look inside this component, work on the component, record the video, and do everything at the same time. So I had to change my setup to show you exactly what I'm doing on the inside of this wireless circuitry and NFC stuff. You can see the whole coil is already detached out of the back cover. The only thing that I am missing is this cable. This cable is still glued to the broken back cover. The removal process is the same. I'm submerging my tool inside alcohol, 99% alcohol, and I bring the tool near the cable and push the cable down. You can see it is getting separated from the broken back glass slowly, and I took my time while doing this. I didn't rush anything because I do not want to cut the cable. And you can see the cable goes all the way up to the back cover, and it is very close to the camera bump. This is exactly why I was saying when you insert your blade near the camera bump to make sure that the blade is in contact with the camera bump to avoid cutting the components. So I repeated the same movement, dropping my tool inside alcohol and bringing the tool and pulling on the cable in order to detach it from the broken back cover. Currently, all the broken back cover has been removed out of the device and nothing is still attached to the wireless circuitry and NFC. At the moment, the only thing concerning is that one part of the flex cable has been cut during the process of removing the back cover. The next thing to do is to test if the wireless charging is working or if it is completely cut or damaged. Fortunately, the wireless charging is still working and only a useless part of the flex cable has been cut. The part of the flex cable that was cut does not have any wiring. This might be primarily why it is still working. After testing the wireless charging, trying to remove the wireless charger can be a little bit difficult. Careful not to damage the wireless circuitry. The whole thing is still very sticky. Here's a closer look at the circuitry. You can see where it was cut. While working with alcohol, make sure that no alcohol goes beyond the battery. It might damage your screen or any other component inside your device. Here's the Pixel 7 Pro with the wireless charging and all the circuitry exposed. I have cleaned everything and it is ready for the installation of the back cover. Here's the new back cover that I will be installing on this Pixel 7 Pro. Before installation, make sure that you apply some pressure on the back cover on the double-sided tape that is attached on the back cover for it to stick before the installation. It is highly recommended to use B7000 in order to seal your Pixel 7 Pro, Pixel 7, Pixel 6 Pro and Pixel 6. The bottom portion is clean now. I have removed the broken back glass that was still attached on that area. And here is the B7000. I'm putting B7000 on all the frame of the device. Nothing on the wireless circuitry and nothing on the black spot at the top right and bottom left. Here's the new back glass that I'm going to install on this Pixel 7 Pro. It has a double-sided tape pre-installed. For the installation, align the back cover with the body of the device. If everything is good, start applying some pressure on the back cover for it to stick on the body of the device. And after that, you can use some constant pressure clamps in order to hold the back cover on the back of the device for at least 10 to 20 minutes. For the camera glass replacement on this Pixel 7 Pro, you may think it is easy, but it is not. Click the video on the screen to check that out. Since I cannot apply any pressure on the middle, I will push the pressure clamps on the extremities of the back cover. That is going to be sufficient in order to have the back cover completely sealed.